Hi students, I'm Jeff, and today's grammar topic is modals that are used to make polite requests. This is very important and might be a bit confusing, so let's get started. First, we have modals with I as the subject. May I, could I, and can I. Part A. May is used to ask for permission and is formal. Note that it is only used for polite requests with I or we. So let's look at some examples. Number 1. Miss Anderson, may I go to the bathroom? This would be a student talking to a teacher. 2. May we see the painting that you made? B. Could means the same thing as may and is just as polite. Note that could in this use is not in the past. It refers to the present or future. For example, number 3. Could I have a couple of extra days to finish the project, Mr. Davies? C. Can is also used to ask for permission, but it is informal and less polite. 4. Can I have some cookies, Mom? Common responses. Yes, you may. No, you may not. Yes, you can. No, you cannot. Certainly. Certainly not. Of course. Of course not. And sure, which is informal. Note that you cannot say yes, you could, or no, you could not. We just don't say those things. Alright. Now with you as the subject. Would you, will you, could you, and can you. Part A. Would is used to make a polite request, to get someone to do something. It is used to ask if someone will agree to do something. It is more common than will and more polite. For example, number 5. Would you please be quiet? I can't hear the movie. 6. Would you close the window? It's cold in here. Part B. Will has the same meaning as could for polite requests, but is a little less common and a little less polite. But it's still polite. 7. Will you pass me the butter, please? 8. Will you pick up my suits at the cleaners when you're downtown? And part C. Could is just as polite as would when making requests, but its meaning is a little different. In addition to asking if someone will agree to do something, it is used to ask if it is possible for that person to do it. For example, in number 9, Connor says, could you help me with my homework, Jim? And Jim replies, I would if I had time, but I have to go to work now. Maybe later. Number 10. Could you stop making so much noise when you get ready for work in the morning? And part D. Can is used informally to ask someone to do something. Number 11. Can you tell me the time? And 12. Can you help me bring the groceries in? Common responses include, for positive responses, yes, I would be glad to. Or yes, I'd be happy to. And then informally, sure, no problem. And then negative answers, for example, I would, but I don't have a watch. I'd like to, but my back hurts. So in these cases, when you say no, you need to provide a reason in order to provide a polite response. Alright, and finally, would you mind? Part A, asking permission. Would you mind is used to politely ask for permission to do something. It is followed by if I plus a verb in the subjunctive. Verbs in the subjunctive have the same form as the simple past except for be, which should be were for all subjects. It is important to understand that to mind is negative, meaning to be bothered. If you mind something, that means it bothers you or is unacceptable. So a negative answer to a negative question shows agreement. Would you mind if I stayed home tonight? I don't really feel like going to the party with you. 14. Would you mind if I were a little late for the meeting? I need to stop at the bank first. And now some common responses for these questions. No, of course not. No, not at all. No, that would be fine. And note, these are negative, and they're in response to negative questions, so they show agreement. B, asking someone to do something. In this case, would you mind is followed by gerunds. For example, number 15. Would you mind taking me to the store? My car is broken. And 16. Would you mind doing the dishes for me? And now some common responses for this type of question. No, I'd be glad to. Not at all. It would be my pleasure. Again, remember, in this context, negative answers show agreement. Also note that sure and okay are also commonly used in this context, but they're informal. And though they are actually positive words, they also show agreement in this context. Alright, so now you should pause the video, review the material if necessary, do the exercise, and then when you're done, come back and we'll go over the answers together. Alright, let's go over the answers. Number 1. Excuse me, Mrs. Nation. May I use your phone to call my mother? Or could I? 2. Of course, Heath. But could you call me Natasha? Mrs. Nation makes me feel so old. Besides, we want you to feel at home here. Or would, will, or can. 3. Thanks, Natasha. Also, would you mind if I used your office to make the call? 4. Not at all. Go right ahead. Would you put the phone back when you're done so that we'll know where it is? Or will, can, could, or can. And 5. Sure. Hi, Mom, it's Heath. How have you been? I'm fine. Hey, I have a job and a place to stay. I hate to ask, but can you send me a couple $100 to tide me over until I get my first check? Thanks, Mom. I love you. Bye. Or could, would, or will. And 6. Oh, there you are, Heath. Would you mind giving me a hand with the boxes in your room? Once we get them out of there, we can clean the room and put your furniture in there. And 7. No, I'd be glad to. Will you wait just a minute, though? I have to put the phone back and then use the bathroom. Or would, could, or can. And 8. Okay. Hey, Natasha, could I get a glass of iced tea? I'm really thirsty. Or can. and 9. Sure. Just a second. Here you are, honey. Oh, and since you're taking trash out, can you grab the junk in the garage too? Or could, would, or will. And 10. No problem, dear. Can I have some more trash bags? There's a lot of stuff to throw away. It's a good thing we have Heath here to help us. Or could. Alright, be sure to let me know during our lesson how you did. Feel free to leave comments and questions in the box below. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'm always looking for new requests and new students. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.